All right, stuff.
Am I in shot?
Stuff. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another match review. This one, I think, was one that I feared would happen and has finally happened. But yes, Manchester United are out of the FA Cup tonight. And I can't say we didn't deserve to be eliminated from this competition because of the sheer number of mistakes and incapability of controlling a game against the side directly opposite us in the Premier League. We've been beaten by a very, very good Leicester team, and they deserve under all remits to go through. For me, I'm not bitter about it. Reality is a bitch, obviously, but you have to beat the team that's in front of you, and the players that were asked to do that task today were simply not up to it. That is the blunt force of it for me. I'll try and divulge more into it. But as always, if you like the stuff we do, we'll try and get as many fans as possible, especially you guys watching. If you want to get involved, the StreamYard link is out there for you to log into, and you can join the stream and wait in the waiting room for a 10-minute cameo. First, and also if you're on Twitter, please follow it as well. So, hard to do this. It's a defeat, but we are about to get right onto it because the sooner I stop talking, the better. And we'll get Alexi on, who's waiting in our waiting room, fix up the screen a little bit, and now we can worry about the actual game. You can dig your teeth into that one, Alexi, because I don't know how.
That was just really bad. I don't. Usually in these kind of games, like we play quite poorly for a bit, but we get going. But I just never really felt like we got going at all. Really, we looked tired, to be honest. We just looked completely out of ideas. I think we missed Marcus Rashford a lot. I mean, I do like Fred, but that performance was just so inexcusably bad. His ball retention's been an issue for a while, and it did cost us again tonight. And I think Ollie shouldn't have started Matic, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really bad idea. I mean, I see why he did it in the sense of rotation, but in the sense of actually, looking at players and who's best for the job, it wasn't the right thing to do. The goals, I mean, we gave him 2 goals, maybe even you could argue 3. The first goal, we literally gave him a goal. Fred gave him a goal. Second goal, Tielemans runs through half our team. Fred doesn't track back. The others don't come towards him. I'm not just blaming Fred for that goal. The others were culpable as well. The others don't come towards him. And we can see the third goal, McTominay shouldn't have made the foul. McTominay was unlucky not to win the header, and they score. But it's just like, for me, there's a couple of things about this that make this really annoying. We would have had Southampton in the semi-final of the FA Cup, which would have been, a pretty nice game to have. And then, there's going to be fans at the FA Cup final at Wembley. So at half time, I was thinking I might be able to go to the FA Cup final if we get there. I was getting a bit excited. I was thinking, this will be good, won't it? Little day out at Wembley.
Yeah.
No, not happening. And if we'd come away with a win from this, we'd be looking back on this period really positively this last month or so. But I think it's always bad losing a game before an international break because it's just allowed to fester now for 2 weeks. And now we've got 2 weeks of reflecting on this. I mean, it just comes back to the thing again that, we're just not very good without Bruno at the moment, it seems. We weren't that much better when he came on, but I think there was a noticeable improvement in our performance when he came on a bit. We obviously missed Luke Shaw a lot. And I think the problem is, I've made this point a lot of times on here, and you're probably bored of me saying this, but the problem we have is Manchester City, they make a change in their team. We don't really notice, De Bruyne was out for ages. They made it work. Aguero's been out for ages. They made it work with Gundogan. Whereas it's like with us, like if we don't have our main guys, like your Rashfords, your Shaws, your Bruno Fernandez's, we just don't look as good at all. And it's an issue with the depth. We need more strength in depth in the team, and it's something we know. And obviously people know I'm a big supporter of Ollie. I'm always positive about Ollie, but I think it's fair to give him some criticism when he deserves it. And I just think he got it a bit wrong today, to be honest. I think the Matic and Fred thing, just the team came out and it just didn't make sense to me why we were playing Matic and Fred. And I don't know what Fred has to do to get substituted. You know, he should have come off when Fall came off. You know, I'm not saying Matic was great, but Fred really wasn't great at all.
Personally, if I just interject here, personally, I feel like today was a day that was coming in United's season where a poor performance was in the pipeline. And it was clear to see that the excerpts of this long period between December and now has taken its toll. However, I am not one of those fans that's going to be reactionary. I hope there's a number of people who are the same. And I don't want to hear it from the Oleatos tonight because they will know better than anyone that while he takes the blame tonight, that means they have no excuse to absolutely lambast the team. They have no reason to say that United, deserve to get eliminated because they were shite. The opposition deserve every bit of credit for putting an excellent performance in. The manager deserves credit.
They do, but we were poor. I
don't think Manchester United deserve to win tonight at all. I really feel that you come into this game unprepared. Obviously, we did well in Milan on Thursday, but I still think we're unprepared for this game. We were way too complacent, and I didn't see a level of control from even the players on the pitch. I could forgive, in a sense, a little bit Alex Telles because he's playing a role that is very difficult to get into. But Van de Beek, while he was offered yet another chance today, wasn't good enough. And it begs into the question again, will he ever get into a shape of form which will demonstrate why he's worth the fee he is?
It's hard for him. It's hard for him to come into a team that, I myself compare it to the other situations with the players at kind of clubs like City and Liverpool. You look at like when City breed a player in, like Cancelo, it's taken a year. But like when he comes in, it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's really stressful for him to come in because it's kind of a winning machine. But I think the problem is when Van der Beek plays, he plays when everyone else is rested and it's a fairly depleted team. And he never gets the luxury of playing with pretty much all the best outfield players. And I think I still think he deserves more chances, to be honest. And I think
he has Granada coming up and Brighton. I firmly believe against Brighton, he will have to get an opportunity to prove himself. And against Granada, those two games are, for me, his best opportunity. Have Fernandes in the team if you can, fit him in. But I hope I'm not tempting fate here, but we should not be, thinking about resting players before an international break, particularly when they are going away for copious amounts of time. They get a week's rest anyway, because the next game is on Saturday for them. More than enough time to recover. On top of that, I still expected some of the players on the pitch to have to prove the manager up to the manager. They have a point to play in matches more often. So I understand Martial's injured, but he hasn't been playing well. But I thought this would be a chance to take an opportunity to show what he can do and prove to Ollie that I am not on a bad run of form at all. Also, as I mentioned Van der Beek, Alex Telles today, he made a few errors. But ultimately, we are resting our blame on Fred and Matic a lot today, because under no circumstances, and for the second goal in particular, under no circumstances today are you allowing the space in midfield to open up, and for Tielemans, who's known to get forward a lot, he's very good at it, to get into that space and then slide the ball into the corner freely like that without committing any challenge. I understand Vardy making the run in front of Lindelof to put him off, but the midfielder should not be just jogging back and letting Tielemans determine what he should do with the ball. he has to place it in. He has the opportunity to place it in the corner without any challenge from a single player. That also is a big concern, which has plagued me throughout this game, because that's where I felt United lost this match. Not when they conceded a third goal, because poor set-piece judgment from McTominay and everyone in general. But the second, the goals that we conceded through through Matic and Fred, not committed to taking the player out. When you, in any situation, take him out when he's in possession, you shouldn't let him get a free shot off. Poor old Henderson can't reach that. He's already set, but look, for me, the blame today rests on the midfielders and just the incapability of keeping a solid and controlled level of composure in the game. That's all they needed to do tonight. And if they had done that in large spells of the second half, we wouldn't have seen the capitulation that we saw.
Yeah, because, I tweeted this straight after the game, right? Their midfield was Ndidi and Tielemans, right? And ours was Matic and Fred. And we got absolutely annihilated in midfield. They were the first to every ball. They were kind of threading passes through. It was staggering to me how much we got outclassed. And I think that was, obviously, it's quite simplistic for me to say that was the only reason, because I know there's more factors at play, various things that happened in the game, stuff with team selection maybe. But ultimately, I'm not being disrespectful to Leicester. They're a good team, but we got outclassed by Leicester City's midfield, I think.
Exactly. That's my point.
It's like you said, it's madness. Like, it's absolute madness. And I think that game has really tipped it over the edge for me that we do need a reinforcement in midfield now, because you know what we ideally need is one player who can do the McFred role or the Matic Fred role. One player who can just sit there like a Kante or an Ndidi, someone like that, and it allows another creative player in our team. Because I hate to always compare it to Man City, but they're we want to overtake them and win a league. Their midfield options are just so much better. They are just better, and we need to be at that level. So I think we have to invest in the midfield. But
hold on, Alexi. Ranil makes a point of them having 5 players out. Let me just stress this to you, okay? Ollie had, as you said earlier in the line of chat, I'll show it now, that team was good enough to win the game. Personally, picking Matic was a mistake.
Yeah.
Picking Fred, ultimately, while he starts very well, starts many games for United, and over a period of time has played well, picking Fred ultimately proved to be a mistake. So that is not hindsight. That's just a misfortune with that one. I will not in any way blame Ollie for picking Fred because he trusts him. McTominay should have started this game.
Yeah.
Fernandes should not have been rested. Another bit of hindsight. Resting Fernandes before an international break. Did he say? Did he say he wanted to be rested? I don't think he wouldn't like to have been rested. Also, this would have been a kind of game for him to be able to utilize the areas that United, when they were attacking today, he'd have been able to, when he came on, do what he did in the last half an hour earlier in the game. Martial today was I think the only proper recognised striker in the team, with Cavani on the bench nowhere near fit. And even he wasn't looking good. While Leicester have their key, they're missing their starting fullback, who played James Justin, James Maddison, who's been their form player, Harvey Barnes, who's been their star for this season, Ricardo Pereira, and the fifth name escapes me, but I think not Chilwell, somebody else. I'm still thinking he was playing for Leicester. But they lost a good chunk of that strong core that have helped them produce the performances and moved them up to the position in the table that they're in now. What that ultimately proves is they have a much better setup than Manchester United. they will have prepared for this game with the days available to them, knowing we would be exerting ourselves in Milan, trying to get through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. The other problem we have, of course, is now looking at Leicester, who are in a very comfortable, feel comfortable and don't look like they're in any way threatened by the teams behind them. We're now in, I think, a catch-22 with the midfield. McTominay and Fred cannot play all season. They cannot play all year. They cannot produce the performances necessary to be able to cut teams open, to be able to throw the gauntlet at an opposition, and literally be committed to showing a lot of effort when games like these come up. McTominay, yes, he scored goals this season, but is he the kind of player who sits and does the clean-up job? No. Is Fred that kind of player? No. Well, for Leicester, Wilfred indeed is that man. He's one man, but cleans up brilliantly in the areas of the pitch where Fernandes thrives. If Leicester were without him today, United would have won this game. Maybe they would have won this game. On the grounds that there is more space in the midfield, and even though some of their core players are out, they would still have a tough time keeping United quiet. But for me today, the midfield lost us this game. And the blame does lie, unfortunately, on Ollie for that one.
Sorry, this is a bit of a random point, but you were saying about Bruno Fernandes.
Yes.
Ultimately, we've rested Bruno Fernandes for this, right? His next game is for Portugal on Wednesday at home to Azerbaijan. Why are we resting him for that? Like, what do you get what I mean by that? It's not like it's a big game for his country. And then they're playing Serbia on Saturday, and then they're playing Luxembourg.
Okay, Serbia, I understand.
Yeah, but Serbia's not till Saturday. Azerbaijan, they're playing on Wednesday. But like, what's the? I don't know. But then I'm not a medic, and to be fair, I think Ollie has needed to rotate players more. That's what's ironic about what I'm saying. I think he has needed to be better with rotation. But it just, I don't know, it just doesn't really make sense to me. Like you said, resting Bruno before an international break when their next game's against Azerbaijan. But hey ho.
Again, I'm struggling to find positives other than our equaliser, which was a good goal, and Paul Pogba played a huge role in that.
Happy for Greenwood as well.
I agree. It was a good moment for him. It was another goal in the FA Cup. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to continue that run. But we were given a shoe-in for a semi-final, I feel like, with Southampton. But now we've lost the opportunity to get that opportunity to have a shoe-in. And really now, look, I said it from the get-go, I would prefer to have won the European competition over the FA Cup anyway. It's why while I am still disappointed, I still think there's prestige in United possibly winning this Europa League over the FA Cup. But frankly, today they deserve to go out. What do you hope for now? Because our international break's been soured a little bit.
Oh. Well, it's just going to be two weeks without football, and just reflecting on this, I guess. I mean, in the context of the season, it's really annoying, and I'm annoyed about it. But ultimately, you said, we're still in the Europa League. We're still second in the league, I think. We're having a decent season, but it's just more annoying that we would have got Southampton. That's what kind of gets to me a bit, to be honest. Like, it's just such a missed opportunity for this group of players again. But yeah, I guess it's not the end of the world, but yeah, it just sucks.
Well, it is what it is. And you kind of got to expect this from United from time to time if this season is the way it goes. But alas, we can only hope for better. And Brighton is next, but that's 2 weeks from now. So alas, what should we call it? Second means nothing. We don't win trophies elsewhere. Sorry to say it, but it's true according to Ranil, who I've put on already. quickly, Alexi, do you see United winning the Europa League despite our tricky path to the final? Because we at least know who we're playing in that competition, thanks to the fact they did both draws yesterday.
Well, ultimately, we do. I think we do kind of need to win the Europa League, to be honest, because we need to prove that we can actually win something, and also our route to the final obviously isn't easy, but we should be winning those games. Really, I think Ajax will be tough. If it's them, that will be a tough game, but I still think we should beat Ajax, and I still think we should beat, even if it's Arsenal in the final. I think we should still win that game.
I have a funny feeling Villarreal will get there, to be honest. Something tells me about Emery. He loves this competition too much. I think he'll get that Villarreal team there one way or another, whether it is through Arsenal or not, but we'll have to wait and see. Alexi, mate, thank you. Reality's annoying, but hate to say I told you so, pal. Not in the terms of the defeat, but in terms of that a day like this would happen. And here we are. But yeah, take care, pal. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, Ahmed.
See you soon, mate. And that is Alexi out of here for now. He's a humble friend of the show. Before I get Perry on, just wanted to say something. People need to stop putting Ollie under pressure. I don't like it. I hate it. I despise fans who use the Mourinho trophy gag over and over again, or the fact that some of these players are not good enough. These players are good enough, but what they can sometimes lack is an obvious capability to perform at a high level consistently enough so that we're not seen as a side that can cave in from time to time. He already has problems enough, the Solskjaer, with Rashford's small knock today. He would have been a very important player in this team. But outside of that, I don't think fans should be angry as much at United's performance. Yes, Matic and Fred were absolutely terrible. And I'm standing by that. It was an awful performance by both of them. Equally so, our attack let us down too. But really, it is a shame. Jordan's joined our stream. He's keen to give a voice or two. Let's get him involved. Jordan, welcome to the show. Sum up your thoughts on that appearance, mate.
Oh, it was absolutely rotten. What a nightmare that was today. That's 1 hour. If it wasn't for the fact that we lost 6-1 to Spurs, I would say that was our worst performance this season. That was terrible.
I mean, it's good to have you on again as always. But yeah, awful, as I said just now to Alexi, who was with us just a moment ago. I also said that I feel to say the midfield lost us this game. It was more the fact they were incapable of dealing with the overall press that Leicester had. And would you also agree that they prepared for this game better than United as well, ultimately on the day?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, Fred's dropped some stinkers since he signed for Man United, but that's definitely one of his worst performances tonight. I was absolutely terrible. I mean, not directly at fault for the first goal, but his general play and passing was really, really poor. He gave the ball away quite a lot, to be honest. It was really quite a disappointing performance from the midfield in particular, but from the team as a whole as well.
Focusing on Fred very quickly, how patient are you with him? For me, obviously, I've seen this season he's made a lot of mistakes, made some decent and played very good matches, some decent performances. City, for example, Sociedad away in recent weeks. But for you, is it the same, or do you feel like he's been an asset for you? Has he been holding United back in terms of the mistakes he makes, like today, for example?
To be fair, the thing about Fred is he's an all right kind of system player, and he runs and all that. But the fact of the matter is, he can't pass, and he can't shoot, and he can't really tackle that well. So, like, it's all right running about them in the middle of the park, but when it comes down to it, and you're playing against teams which, although Leicester are sitting in an all right position in the league, they're not exactly going to. Like, they're not exactly going to bring the game necessarily in the midfield, so you want players that can pass it out, particularly under such a high press. Fred can't pass the ball when he's under no pressure, so when he's under such high press like he was today, we just get found out on multiple occasions.
Also, how about the attack? were you unimpressed with any particular members of the forward line today?
I thought for the goal, Pogba done well. I thought Van de Beek. I was in the first maybe half an hour of the match. I'm thinking every time he gets on the ball, he turns back. He was turning backwards quite a lot, which I think that's comes down to a kind of confidence issue. Like, he doesn't want to take risks and play big long balls up the park. He'd much rather just play a safe pass. But then he actually done quite well with the dummy for the goal. So I thought he done all right. Greenwood as well. I thought Greenwood. I didn't necessarily think that they were terrible, but they weren't great by any stretch of the imagination. I thought that the whole team definitely could have done a lot more, and the attack didn't cause that many problems. Really, I don't think Schmeichel had many saves to make.
As for trophies this season, that's one of them gone. So it is the Europa League left for us to chase as a title for this season. Are you at any like mood to assume that United can dominate in that competition despite the tricky road to the final?
Well, I mean, you would like to. I would have said that the biggest threat to us winning the Europa League was Spurs, and obviously they were dumped out the other night. So you would like to think now that we'll pretty much walk our way to the. We just need to try and, this is a setback tonight, but we just need to try and remain positive. The team has definitely improved this season, and there's always going to be setbacks. But it was just the manner in which we were beaten tonight was just really difficult to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, any credit for Leicester in general? Their performance was brilliant.
I think Leicester. Do you know? A lot last season when we signed Maguire and they brought in Soyuncu, and there was a lot of the kind of media was going for Maguire and really backing Soyuncu, and I didn't really think that it was necessarily merited. I thought Soyuncu was all right, but I didn't think he was great. But I was impressed with him today. Wesley Fofana as well. I think that. We paid 80 million for Maguire, so you would think that for Wesley Fofana they would want there or thereabouts for him as well. But he's definitely someone who I think will become a top centre back in the next couple of years. I think he was excellent again today.
Well, John, thank you as always for joining us, and an honour and a privilege to have you back on our shows, and we hope to bring you back on in the future, mate.
Right, thanks. See you later.
Cheers. Take care. Jordan on the show again, and yeah, it was good to hear him. He's a friend of the show from a few weeks ago, but like us, is disappointed with the result. I'll give a general synopsis of the game because I feel like I got to vent a bit more, but that's at the end. Let's bring Perry in. He's been waiting a while, poor fella, and it sounds like he's in a completely different place. Hello, Perry.
Hello. How
Hi.
are you? All right.
How can I describe all right?
Yeah, that was.
How do I describe it?
It was it was poor, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah. I assume you're driving somewhere. That's probably why I can hear car noises. But yeah.
Yeah, if it's that bad, cut me off. But you called me at the wrong time. But I've been waiting. Yeah, no, I thought we got outplayed today, Ahmed. I don't know what you thought. I thought and even at the races. Yeah,
definitely. I've had the same thoughts with the other colleagues of the show who've said the same. We felt the same way in the sense that United was just nowhere near the standards that they seem to be aiming for, and reality is that Leicester today was simply the much better team. But I can't say more than just the fact that we deserved nothing more than the defeat we had this afternoon.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it all boiled down to the same thing as last year, where we don't play our strongest 11, we get caught out, and that's exactly what happened again today.
All right, where for you do you think United lost this game today?
I don't think we was prepared, Ahmed. I don't know what you think, but I think after Thursday, we obviously got back Friday. We've had a day to train and prepare for the game. And I know they know the game's up and coming, but the game in Milan has so much importance that I think this was kind of put on the back burner, and we'll deal with it when it comes to it.
You feel this was a calculated decision?
Yeah, I think so. I see why he's rested players, but it stung him today, hasn't it? I don't think we was anywhere near Leicester, and we can't really even argue that case because they've got so many of their first team players out as well. And as you said earlier, you hit the nail on the head. They were set up better than us because they equally have got as many first team players out as what we have.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that, to be honest.
It's a shame, really, because we've now got to put all our eggs in the Europa basket, haven't we?
It's the trophy I wanted to win, but frankly, I can't say that United deserve to win it off the back of this performance. I feared that in Europe, we will play better, obviously, away from home, and there are elements of, like what if with United, but the fact that today we've actually proven that away from home we're not all that great against a side in the terms of Leicester, particularly when you take into account all this week's madness is with the game against Milan and everything. It has taken its toll and it has taken greater importance apparently for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yeah, that frankly is the reality of it. We can't measure up to opposition like the Leicester side that we faced today. In any competition, league or cup, we simply do deserve to get eliminated. And I can't defend the manager too much on that one, on the grounds that he did put the team out to win. And with an international break, maybe resting one or two, if he is committed to winning a tournament, was probably not the best idea. But what about you? Do you feel the same in that aspect?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you anymore, to be honest with you. I thought, I see why he's made the change today, but I think the problem with this team, and I think we're not going to progress until we actually resolve these issues. We've got so many players who aren't really playing in their best positions. It's like we're always accommodating this. The same with Fred and McTominay. We haven't got an out-and-out defensive mid. So we're playing two players to kind of accommodate for that thing. And if you look at the positions where we've actually got really good players, like they're exceeding. Like we bought Bruno for a good amount. He's exceeding. We've got Maguire. Yeah, he probably isn't worth 80 million, but he's an out-and-out centre-back. All the players who are exceeding are playing in their preferred positions. And where the areas we are struggling in are the players that we're trying to accommodate. It's like Martial. It's like he looks lost at the striker position to me. He really does. Like he doesn't look good there, in my opinion. I don't know what you think, but
it isn't. Yeah, it isn't really a particularly pleasant thing to see, and I feel like tonight that's an opportunity missed at a tournament which was easier to win. In reflection, as I've said, obviously, I still want us to win the more prestigious competition, but
it is. As you said, like it wasn't a one-way ticket to the final, but tonight would have been the hardest leg for sure. So that would have definitely. But yeah, we did deserve to lose tonight. I think Leicester were really good. They played us off the park. They've also had a lot of first-team players out, and I just think it was one of those nights. But hopefully, let's not let it determine our season. But I do think that Solskjaer has to take the blame for tonight. Like he needs to be criticised when it does go wrong. And I am happy with Ollie. I am. I definitely do think we have made progression compared to last year. But I think we had, I can't remember what game it was, Ahmed, you'd probably know, but we had a similar thing this year where it might have actually been the Carabao when we got knocked out. Like he rested a lot of first team players, and that come back to haunt us. And a similar thing happened again tonight, where we can see the reasoning behind it, but we just need to play our best 11 because it's the same thing as last year. Our backup team is just not good enough.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And with the lack of depth that is with us right now, I could scarcely accept United being able to demonstrate that they can rest Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, and Harry Maguire enough times a season to put out a side that would go to a championship team maybe and get a good result in the cup without having to ask any of them to come in. Leicester today, as we've said, didn't have their best 11, but still, it's not enough, and it's still not enough in many fans' cases. For me, this I think is where United, in terms of like the peak of this point in the season, they hit their peak way back in January, February time, and since then it's just been a jagged progress. You don't think United are going high up very quickly, but you also don't know if they're coming down anytime soon. And any time that United have been on the brink of losing, they do sometimes have a rabbit to pull out the hat. But you then have to think, are they able to keep doing that on a consistent basis? And simply the answer is no, they can't. So
I think another thing what is really annoying me is the Van der Beek slander. Like he needs a run of games. Like it's so harsh to judge him on these performances where he's dropping in and out for one game and coming off after 60 minutes. Like he needs a run of games to actually be judged, and we haven't even seen that from him yet. So in my eyes, like for people like giving him abuse, like it's a bit out of order. I think like he needs a run of games to be able to prove himself. Yeah,
absolutely. And frankly, I do see this being my fear is I fear this will become an excuse for the critics of the manager to say, because we've been out of 3 competitions this season, because it's we've not been good enough in numerous matches when it mattered, we deserve to tell him he doesn't deserve a new contract. Frankly, why are United making decisions like this if they know he's going to be there for longer than the 2-year period that is being suggested? You can't just axe him as soon as you start plotting or building the team around him, because what you are then asking to do is rebuild the team all over again under a different manager. If that guy's not successful, then you're going to blame him next instead of Ollie, when instead we've made the most progress onto him.
And I think a lot of fans are so short-sighted. Like, we have tried every other option. We've got Moyes first, and before Moyes come to us, I know everyone laughs now, but he was doing quite a good job with Everton, and he was spending a very limited amount of money, and they were consistently getting around the top area. So that wasn't, whether that was good or wrong, that was an appointment. Van Gaal, probably one of the most sought after managers in Europe. Mourinho, an out-and-out winner, and they've all failed at United. And the only thing we haven't tried now is like a player manager who used to be with us. And a lot of people who call for Ollie have always said wrong about the players he's starting, and to me that's hypocritical, because if you're slandering the manager's choice of players, you're there admitting that the players aren't good enough. And I think this is what it boils down to, is that a lot of the players we've got aren't good enough, and Solskjaer is doing the best with what he's got. I just think he's picking up the pieces from the last 5 or 6 years. Like, we've got players on our books still who are on astronomical wages who don't even get a look in. Like, fair play to Ole, he has got rid of as much deadwood as he's had chance to. And I think he's incorporating a lot of the old United ways back in, hard work ethic. Like if you look at the team we had under Jose, they were so unfit, it was ridiculous. And Jose was promoting players like Sanchez who just come for the money. And I think Solskjaer is incorporating that old United way of hard work, young players, academy, and I do think I know we haven't won any trophies, but I do think we are in the best position we've been since Alex Ferguson. Whether other people are going to disagree, and that's absolutely fine, but I think Jose's trophies kind of plastered over the problem. We all knew deep down that we wasn't playing very good football, and we did win some cups, and I think that is what Solskjaer has to do next. But I do think we're in the best position we've been since Ferguson, personally. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But for me, I think it's probably the best football we've played since Ferguson. We play a lot of youth. We play academy players. I think a lot of the players he signed in the transfer market have been. It's the first time I can actually remember us making successful signings in the transfer window. If we look at all the players we've had back from Moyes, how many have actually been that good? And I don't know what you think, but I think Bruno's been a good signing. I think Maguire, the price tag was too high, but I think he's been pretty solid for us the last couple of years. Wan-Bissaka, another good signing. Henderson, another good signing. Players have also improved under Solskjaer. If you look at Shaw, Rashford, Martial had a really good season last year. I don't know what you think, but that's my general consensus on the whole Solskjaer situation. I think it would be idiotic to get rid of him halfway through the job.
I don't think these people deserve to support a club if they don't back the manager, and I don't think it's right to consistently use any small flaws as an excuse to encourage your agenda. Now, today he gets it wrong. Fine, criticize him. I am criticizing him, but no matter what, you give him a reason to do the job he can at the best of his capability. You should in no way use that as a method as a fan. You should in no way use the ability of hindsight to say he doesn't deserve to manage a team. Frankly, I think that this is a perfect opportunity. They think it's their perfect opportunity to criticize him. Where are United in the league right now? Second. When Mourinho was manager and we won trophies, where were United? 6th. Not 4th, not 3rd, and not 2nd or 1st. We were 6th. And that, unfortunately, was unacceptable.
I agree. And also, I think the league, we're 2nd, and this is arguably the Liverpool team, what was meant to be the best ever Premier League team. Where are they?
Oh, what, 7th? They're 7th?
Chelsea, how much did they spend in the last window? And they were everyone was fancying them for the title challenge. We're still ahead of them after they've spent all that money. I know that isn't the United way to judge our stuff, but I just think everyone knew that when Mourinho went, look at the mess we was in. Everyone knew that we needed a rebuild, but everyone expects a rebuild to be done in a year and a half, and that isn't going to happen. And I just think people have got to look at what Solskjaer is incorporating to the team. Whether he is the person to take us forward or not, he is definitely bringing us back to where the club grew from and what Manchester United is. We never have been a club to buy Galacticos, and that's what we did from Stallback too. But Solskjaer's bringing back the youth academy players, and it's nice to see players actually improve under him. When have we ever seen that? Really, under any other manager we've had, this is the first time we've seen players flourish.
It's not fair on him. Criticize him for today, fine. Just on today's performance.
The thing is, though, Ahmed, if say we had Pochettino as our manager now, imagine all the plaudits he would get for how Rashford's playing, how Bruno's playing, how Shaw's playing, how solid Maguire's been playing, but nobody wants to give Solskjaer those credits. But if Pochettino was our manager, imagine all the plaudits that he'd be getting for how well Shaw's being reinvented after Jose and all these other players.
And if he lost today, right? If he lost today in a similar situation to how United had this week with the Milan game and this, right?
Yeah.
Right? How would he have got that similar criticism? I think not. I genuinely believe Oli is the unfortunate scapegoat for all the criticism because they think he's too much of a man for the men upfield in the club than instead of that him being a rebellious person to the club and the Glazers who run it. Personally, I think fans need to stop targeting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Just stop it. Players on the pitch take the blame for defeats, and that's for me the ultimate disgrace to perform like that today and not show a proper effort to trying to win a competition. Okay, you did well in Milan, that's fine, but you still need to try regardless of how much effort you put in. Remember, the game in Milan, you only need to score one goal and sit back for the rest of the match, and United demonstrated they could do that. You come to Leicester today, who are, yes, they are fitter. Yes, they have first-team players out. Yes, they, on the day, played a star clock better than Man United did and certainly wanted it more. So, so in the end, credit to them, they deserve it.
Another thing as well is, like, before Ole come, we've been in and, well, I think we got, one top four finish. We've been consistently finishing 6th and 7th. And... he's had this will be the end of his second year now, and that will be 2 seasons we've had a top four finish. And whether the fans want to moan there's a trophy or not, our owners have proven that all they want is Champions League finishes after, well, we see what happened to Van Gaal.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee even if he don't win a cup and he gets top four, he'll still be here because that is all the owners care about. And the fans just need to accept that is what is the situation unless the owners do go.
Look, it is the grim reality of it, and as far as I'm concerned, Perry, fans don't they don't give Oli credit for when he gets it right, and he's been getting it right for a long time. It's just the one or two anomalies. And
I'm sorry, and I do agree with some of the points what other people say who say he's not good enough, but a lot of it is saying that it's all up to the players doing it all, and there's no tactical. But I'm sorry, you don't get to second in the league 3 quarters through on just sole players doing what they want. There has got to be some tactics and incorporation from that. But I just think players need to fans need to get behind the manager and support the team instead of constantly bashing the players and the manager. It's just not healthy.
Really absolutely, and it is the last thing I think this club needs. I mean, look, it sours the international break we're about to enter because really we'd have liked to have gone into it with a positive and then looked forward to a semi-final and an opportunity. I think for me, it would have been a shoe-in against Southampton. No guarantees, of course, but having played against them this season, we would have probably gotten the better of them on the day. And particularly because Ollie's mentality towards a one-off semi-final would have been different to last season. He'd wanted to kill the game sooner rather than later. What the final could have been is what the final could have been. However, particularly, it would have been in front of the fans because of the guarantee. Looks like they're going to do it in front of fans. And that would have been...
Another thing as well, we all knew what we needed going into that summer transfer window, and we didn't get anything what we actually needed. And whether people want to blame Ole for that, but it isn't Ole's fault. And I can guarantee that he didn't want Donny van der Beek. That's been made pretty obvious. And we all knew that we needed a centre back, a DM, and a right winger. And we got Ahmed, but he isn't a starter for us. He needs to be learning off in and out right winger who is experienced in that position. And the board failed Solskjaer in the summer. He managed to claw back that top 4 finish for us, and they should, and we all fans agree that he should have got something what he needed, but we didn't. We basically got a load of scraps, which I'm pretty sure all the other managers have said that's exactly the same thing, is that they never got the players that they wanted. And how can any manager, like, how are we going to progress under any manager? Because they all have their own idea and philosophies of what they want, and whether we get in an Allegri or whoever, what everyone wants, we've been down this road before with Van Gaal, Mourinho, and it won't work if they don't get the players that they want, and then they're left to use the players from other managers' systems and philosophies, which is exactly what we're figuring out now. Solskjaer's basically working with the casts of Moyes, Van Gaal, and Mourinho, and he's managed to get from the first transfer window 3 or 4 players that he actually wants.
Like, imagine if you actually give him what he wants. Just imagine it. And he can, once he gets what he wants, he can actually progress with the team rather than just rely on the bare scraps.
It was well known as well from like the respectable sources like The Athletic and Whitwell and a lot of other journalists online that it was Grealish and Sancho who Solskjaer wanted, and he didn't get anything. And it was all last minute signings. The same with Cavani. Like, we could have got Cavani at the start of the window, and then we did get him, and then his visa, that was with Ahmad as well, his visa weren't ready in time, and Cavani then couldn't, like, we missed. It's the same thing with the Bruno deal. We just leave everything too late, but that's not the manager's fault. That's on the board. So I think a lot of fans just have to take everything into context, and we've been down the road before of getting experienced managers, and it hasn't worked. So I don't know what makes them think that it's going to work again, because we've had arguably the best manager in the generation, Mourinho, come to us, and well, I think a lot of United fans would agree it was a failure. I know he won cups, but as Manchester United fans, we really only expect the Premier League or Champions League. And Van Gaal as well, probably one of the best managers in Europe. He come and failed. So I don't think getting rid of Solskjaer and bringing another manager in is the answer.
Well, that's exactly what I want to say. I'm going to debunk it further after this, but back on today, Perry, or back on the current situation. Well, where do we go from here?
It's hard, isn't it? Because we now got an international break, and I think that's going to brew on the players' minds for a couple of weeks. But we've got to put our eggs in the Europa League basket, and I'm hoping that Solskjaer realises now that we just need to. It's the same thing as last year. We got burnt out, but we just need to play our best team every game and see how far we can get. And I think we've got a easier run in the Europa this year compared to last season's. I think last season Sevilla, well, it's their competition, isn't it? And we did struggle, but I think we've played our hardest leg against Milan, and we've got a nice quarter-final now, which I'm expecting us to win. But if we got Europa League and top 4 finish, I think that's it's progression from last year in my eyes. But he needs to try to get a trophy, I think, to just silence some of the critics. But I think most level-headed United fans, even if he didn't have a trophy, could see progression.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen stark progression from Solskjaer for a long time now, and I can't say that we've been unless he's just messaging me saying he's going to have a few pints of Dranosaurus. I'll get mine in soon, but I think you are right on that one. We have seen abysmal football for a long time post Ferguson, and we've been well overdue, quite literally well overdue, a decent manager who progresses the team, who can actually get some of the best out of these players and get a somewhat build his own identity with Man United. But if this is what fans are going to do, consistently treat him with contempt, disrespect all the time, and not see exactly what he is trying to do. I don't think.
I know you've got to judge him as a manager, but I just don't see how people can disrespect someone who's done so much for our club. And I know you have to take the emotion out of it, but like, even if he wasn't good enough, there's still no reason to be disrespectful to people.
I don't like it one bit.
But yeah, no, like I'm not as bothered by tonight's loss as most other fans. To me, it's the FA Cup, and well, we've all been brought up seeing us win the best trophies in the world, and so the FA Cup is a good trophy. I'm not saying that, but we're bigger than this. We really are. I know we're not there at the minute, but to me, I'm not going to get my hopes set down on not winning the FA Cup. But
I agree.
But yeah, I think we've still got a lot to be. As I said, like if at the end of last year, if people said like you're going to finish second or third and win the Europa League, I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, like, that's a good year, like that's progression. So I don't think the season's all over just yet. And yeah, I think if he don't win anything this year, then I think he's probably. I still can't see the board getting rid of him if he gets top four. I think he'll have another year. But as I said, like what other manager has come here and got top four 2 years in a row? None of them have, and they're all meant to be the best managers in the world.
I mean, I think this season we have something. We can have something to lose from this season compared to most teams who don't have much to lose. So, for example, Arsenal today nearly lost 3-0 at West Ham. Came back to draw 3-3. The Europa League is everything for them. They need it more than us. But we need to treat that competition with the respect it deserves, and we must win it. If we can't win that, I feel like that, this again will become more than just another excuse for fans who are cynics of Oli that he's not worthy of the job. On top of that, just finishing top four, while it's sufficient, if he is still to keep his job after this season through getting us into the Champions League via the top four, he must be like properly backed. We're talking the opportunity to sign the players he wants and bring them in, no hassle, no longevity, instead of this long-winded approach that's been seen by United for a lot of time. But I mean, really, we can't divulge it any further, can we?
No, and I'm not going to be reactionary. I just think we should have won. We all know where we need to be, but I still think we're missing a few players. We needed some more signings to actually bring the squad to where it needs to be. And yeah, let's see where the season finishes. Like it could still be not a bad season to get the Europa and get Champions League qualification for next year. Like to me, that'd be a good season.
I mean,
we'd be on the right path.
We would need something to show for this season. And as I've said, I want this competition, the Europa League, more than any other. Because since we got knocked out of the Champions League, it was a damaging blow to Man United's European reputation by getting eliminated in the group stages. And from a group where United won the first two games and struggled onwards and onwards up to the point they lost to Arsenal and etc. etc. So, frankly, this has proved that we must not in any way disrespect this tournament as we've done with the FA Cup. Even though it's not as seen as a big tournament anymore, which is sad, we've got to treat it with a bit more respect this Europa League. But
and
Perry?
We all know as United fans where we need to be is Premier League and Champions League, but there is no quick fix overnight, one transfer window, what's going to do that. So we need to keep going, basically, and if it don't work in another year, then that's when questions start coming. But he needs to be given more than 2 years to sort out this mess, what's been left.
Certainly.
But let's not. Yeah, it's a disappointing result. But as you said, let's look forward to the Granada game. And as I said, then we're into the semis. So let's wait and see how it goes.
I am excited to see what happens when we go to Spain. But yeah, thank you, Perry.
Yeah, Cheers, Ahmed.
Take
Yeah,
care,
look
pal.
after yourself, and
You too, pal.
hopefully next time we speak, we'll be under better circumstances. Hey.
Aye, pal. I've caught you when you were driving home. I hope I helped at least to make it an easier
Yeah,
drive.
no, yeah,
Cheers,
no,
pal.
it's been good. Cheers, Ahmed. Bye, mate.
See you soon, mate. Bye. Lovely to speak to Perry. Now, let me quickly, I have got to stress this, and it's been on my mind all this time. We've been talking to many fans. If you do want to get involved, quickly, I can fit one more in. The StreamYard link is on the Twitter feed right now. But I'm tired of people using defeats like this to be the opportunity to get the agenda going again. That is a big no-no. You can't support your team solely off of one player or off of just the fact that a former manager won trophies with United. Okay, Mourinho won three trophies in one season with United. It's not a treble. It's not a treble. Winning the Europa League in 2017 was great. Winning the Carabao Cup in 2017 was great. And beating Leicester in the Community Shield was great. But Community Shield is the English Super Cup. It's not a glorified trophy that everyone wants to win. The Carabao Cup is a competition you can get away with winning if the right circumstances come. And that's why City win it every year, because they take it seriously. But even still, it's just like for me, it's trophy stat padding, City winning the Carabao Cup. The Europa League, for me, brought me the most joy. Why? Because it is European competition, first of all. It also, United were 6th in the Premier League that season. 6th. It was a starkly poor performance by a team who had signed Paul Pogba, Eric Bailly, Henrik Mkhitaryan, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic in that season. And ultimately proved that even with those 4 players in, we were nowhere near measured enough to get into the top 4, especially with the Liverpool team that was strengthened that season. You had Manchester City in the first season under Guardiola. Chelsea and Tottenham, who I think Spurs at the time were playing their best football under Pochettino, and a Chelsea team where they had a faltered start to the season, finished strongly, having signed the likes of Cesc Fabregas and in the 4 years previously, signing Costa and co as well. They built up a team under Conte to be able to win the title and this was his first season at the club. But United still had no excuse for that season, finishing the way that it did. And ultimately, particularly his experience, ultimately he decided to put his eggs in the Europa League basket. And for me as a fan, I gave into that because I knew that's the only way we'll get back into the Champions League is if we win the Europa League. We won it. Brilliant job. The whole team played excellently in Stockholm that night. But how do you kick on the following season? You want to win the title. Okay, let's see what happens. City strengthened in the transfer window. United signed Lukaku. I think Rashford improves in this season, but doesn't get enough game time, which is very annoying. Whereas Lukaku is signed. Lindelof is signed. Matic comes in, so he's improving despite his Mourinho. He's making stronger. He's bringing stronger players in, taller players in. He has a problem at fullback, however. He doesn't trust Luke Shaw at 23. He says he's overweight. He's not got the skills. He's telling you what to do on the pitch. If he gives the boy freedom to play football, maybe he plays as well as he does nowadays under Solskjaer. Makes no sense to tell him not to play that way. The centre-half issue is a problem. Chris Smalling was still there. He wanted a commanding centre-back in that team. We didn't have that kind of player until Maguire came in a year or so later. But in that season, 17-18, when Mourinho was manager, where did we finish? Second. But did we finish 3 points behind City? No. We finished 15 points behind them. 15. And we were out of every competition except getting to the final of the FA Cup, a competition he loves to win, and we put in a shambolic performance at Wembley that day. A shambles performance. And I was there. I saw that game with my bare eyes, and it was an absolutely disgraceful performance. Not in any way did United put any effort into win that game. We put the ball in the net for offside. That's all we did. Outside of that, Chelsea controlled that game brilliantly and ultimately earned that title. So I don't have any qualms with Chelsea's performance that day. United then sink even further in 2018-19. We signed Lee Grant as a backup keeper, Diogo Dalot, and Fred. And obviously, Fred proves in some cases he can play well, but in other cases he can't. Mourinho was starting to lose the dressing room. He was starting to lose faith in the board. And ultimately, other than one good performance against Juventus, we absolutely sank that season. The fact we finished even close to the top four in 2018-19 was outrageous. And Solskjaer had to pick up a broken team in December. He had to pick up a broken team. He had just been beat by Liverpool 3-1. Humiliated by Liverpool, in my opinion. Humiliated. No matter what, he managed to recover this broken team very well in the first 16 games he was manager. In the FA Cup, he got us to the quarterfinals like today. And ultimately, we fell short against Wolves. We fell short against Barcelona, but Barcelona at the time were a good team. United could have done better in the first leg, yes, but the new camp is a tough place to go. Do you expect anything worse? The finish that season, though, I can understand, what was transpiring at the time. Following Paris, we lost to Arsenal, and it went on. We would start to struggle in the respective games afterwards. There was out of the FA Cup, out of the Champions League, out in the quarterfinal stages, out of the top four hunt before even the end of the season. And I think that day against Huddersfield compounded that. Everton was the worst of the bunch for a straight 4-0. Not even an effort in that game, an ounce of effort from us at all. It was probably the worst performance from a Manchester United team that I've seen in over 15 years. And that's not even taking into consideration the 6-1 City put past us at Old Trafford or Liverpool's 3-0 under Moyes. This team at the time, the team that were there were simply not good enough. And Ollie proclaimed when he made that press conference after the 4-0, a lot of the players in this team are simply not good enough to play for Man United. And the team that I want to build is the fittest, the strongest, the hardest working team in the league. Well, what happens the following season? Okay, we salvaged something to finish in the Europa League when we should have finished in the Champions League spots. And ultimately, we deserve to be in the Europa League. He gets Maguire in. He brings in Wan-Bissaka. He brings in... he sells Lukaku. He puts Martial up front as a leading striker. Mason Greenwood comes in and takes an opportunity up front. Daniel James is signed. Most importantly, he strengthens the backline. He gives Luke Shaw some renewed belief. He starts to talk to him, manages him over time. And the team play a blinder against Chelsea on the opening day. A brilliant performance. Then the season sort of turns into a topsy-turvy one. Draw to Wolves, lose to Palace, goes into international break. No one knows what happens next. We then go on an awkward run of games in the Europa League, and then before the Europa League starts, we lost to West Ham, I believe, in a horrible game that day, and we didn't play at all well. We nearly went to penalties, I think, against Rochdale, if I'm not mistaken, and it was when Greenwood scored his first goal. Can't remember who played in the Premier League, but we struggled in that season. We struggled at the start of that season, and the rock bottom was Newcastle against Newcastle away. We lost 1-0, and fans again calling for the manager's head at a time when he's only just starting to understand where this team's strengths lie and everything. You've got to remember as well, the board don't back him in this summer. They don't back him at all. They don't give him the belief or the tools he wants from that window to strengthen this team. We had all the summer to get players. We had the opportunity to bring the likes of Fernandes in, to bring the likes of Paulo Dybala in, to bring many opportunities in Sancho as well, I think, would have been a good opportunity that year. Matthias de Ligt. So many talented players. Even Gareth Bale at 28 at Real Madrid when he was absolutely being lambasted, had no interest of being there. Zidane didn't want him. United simply couldn't go out and get it. Injury prone or not, he'd have still played a role in this team on the right-hand side. I don't care what people say. He's gone about Bale. He's played all right since he's been at Spurs. Yes, they're dead a bit right now. Their season is faltering. But under no circumstances can you say that he's not played badly at Tottenham. If he came to United even this season, maybe he'd have played a role helping Daniel James playing on the left, backing up Rashford or Martial, and one of those two could have played up front with Cavani. Who knows? But look, the season he could have been strengthened in 2019 would have been the ideal season to bring more than just the three we brought in. And when we missed out Fernandes in the summer, who knows what that could have led to. But another season of learning. We go far in Europe, in the Europa League. The coronavirus comes. We had to shut down for a long time. Up to the point where we beat City 2-0, we get to that point, and suddenly we think, now what? How do United respond? What is the next big thing they can do? The next thing they do is prepare for the final part of the season, a crucial part of the season where they push for the top four. There's no European football there's no European football. There's no cups to worry about, except for the FA Cup, which is the only tournament you can play in that summer period. But this team were ready. It was like a new season, fit enough, ready to push for top four. Ultimately, United got to the FA Cup semi-final, struggled like they did tonight against Leicester, struggled against Norwich, nearly got beaten. Who knows? We could have suffered defeat that day at Carrow Road. On numerous occasions, we almost let top four get away from us. We needed results from other teams to help us get into the top four in the end. We had to beat Leicester at their patch to finish third and ultimately deny them the chance at Champions League football. Look, this team, more than capable of finishing further in the league, needed Fernandes in January to come in and rejuvenate the side. Yes, he was brilliant. Yes, he made such an impact. But for having one player change your form completely isn't enough. You need the team to step up. And this year was his year. He needed this year to work out. He needed a strong Champions League campaign. He needed enough backing in the window. He needed a proper setup for the team to have the right personnel in from the transfer window in, to be able to set up the team accordingly. He wanted Sancho, he wanted Grealish, he wanted a man at the back. Also, I'm tempted to forget that he also wanted Erling Haaland when he was at Salzburg, and United simply didn't commit to paying the ludicrous agents' fees to bring such a prestigious talent in. And now you look at what he's doing in Dortmund, if you want him now, you suddenly think, well, he's now 3 times as much as what we could have paid for him in 2019. And look what happens. And how excited we were bringing Haaland in. If United had actually brought the two of them in, look at where we could have gone. It could have been incredible. But no, just the Fernandes deal. Fernandes is amazing. He is the most influential player United have had since Cantona. And he's been so important. I'm surprised the guy's never tired. He tries so much. And I do worry, obviously, it will get to the point that he will probably end up thinking, if United cannot keep going and pushing for championships, because he's a winner at the end of the day, if we can't keep pushing for trophies, he will seek an opportunity at a club that can give him that. And I am scared that the day will come where United simply are not good enough to win the Premier League or the UEFA Champions League. They simply have to improve dramatically there. this season has been a case of ups and downs. We've not lost a lot of games this season. That's a given. And the blemishes will be the 6-1 against Spurs and the game tonight against Leicester and the Leipzig game. For me, those are 3 massive points in this season. The Spurs game was just an all-round poor performance, and the fact that we were playing against 10 men. The Leipzig performance, we really should have killed the Champions League qualification sooner after losing in Istanbul, beat them at Old Trafford, should have got a point at least against Paris, had chances in that game, simply couldn't take them. And we go to Leipzig, play 5 at the back against a side that love to penetrate the wing areas and simply ripped United apart in 8 minutes in a remarkable fashion. And United, in the end, United deserved to be eliminated on the basis that they simply could not beat a Leipzig team who went on to lose to Liverpool, minus their 2 main centre halves. We played our strongest team against Leipzig and got knocked out and into this Europa League competition. So, okay, maybe Oli made 2 or 3 mistakes that night. Should have stuck with a system that beat Leipzig in the first place after a strong start to our campaign in the Champions League. Maybe he should have adjusted 1 or 2 players in that game to accommodate for the wide options that Leipzig have. Bearing in mind, Leipzig conceded 3 goals in Istanbul. I watched that game with my bare eyes that night, and they were absolutely brilliant, Istanbul. I was shocked that they didn't get something from that tie. Had United, had they hung on, I wouldn't have had to worry about Leipzig so much in the last game. But yeah, this is what is painful to accept, really. This is what is painful to accept with United. When you play a game like the one you played tonight against Leicester, when you know you've put a hard effort in Italy against a very difficult Milan team and knocks them out of the Europa League, you know Leicester have had a week to prepare for this game because they were eliminated in the last round of the competition. So they have 5 first-team players out. But you also know there's an international period coming up where the players could possibly get more rest on duty for their national team than they would for their club. And with the way the season is working out now, if Oli had intentions to go far in the FA Cup this season, today he picked the wrong team for that. And he gets the blame here. He gets the blame for picking the wrong team. He also gets the blame for not being able, yes, with the lack of preparation time, I can understand that, but I don't get why he's decided to rest Fernandes. I don't get why he decides to rest Luke Shaw. Rashford is injured. Okay, fair enough. He had an aggravation of an injury against Milan. That happens. He had to be sacrificed today. If he was fit, I don't know what difference it could have made to the whole setup of the whole team. He could have played with Martial up front today and with that Pogba role on the wing side. If Pogba's performance in Milan was outstanding, but if he was to start today, I expect him not to play more than an hour. My worry heading into this game, I looked at that team and thought, okay, he's rested Fernandes, he's rested McTominay, he has no Rashford, trusts Pogba from the start, and he's put Van der Beek in the number 10. Okay, well, let's see what he can do. But the way we lost this game today were down to 2 shockingly poor mistakes. And really, the start we made should have warranted for us pushing further and getting in front. But Leicester played a system today which suppressed United in an area of the pitch where they love to play in. That's from the back area near the edge of the 80-yard box in their half. If you give them the ball, if you give a player the ball on the edge of the area and he becomes suppressed by one of their midfielders, sayonara to you keeping the ball. And Fred felt that today. And I get why Ollie wants to keep playing out for the back because it's the only way he can progress the ball forward. But sometimes there's nothing wrong with lumping it to Paul Pogba. Today, we could have done that on 3 separate occasions, and we didn't do it. Not to blame Henderson that he didn't at the time not think that it was an option that he could have used. But if you play it up to Pogba, you not only get rid of the threat of Leicester's press, but also you give them an option to start a new attack because you're in behind their midfield already, and you can start getting the movement sorted to open them up a little more. It's only 3 at the back for them in there, and he might not have seen it, but they press wide when they're in possession. They attack wide when they're in possession, using as much of the width as possible and overloading the spots on the side of the pitch. They also, Rodgers, I'm sure, would have learnt this from the first game against United. They also made sure if United did come on the attack, they squeezed. They just squeezed together in one position on the edge of the area, so that they don't let anything central come to United through their back line. United had to work it through the wings for the equaliser in the first half. Ultimately, though, we lost this game as a set of mistakes. Fred's incapability of keeping the ball under pressure, Maguire not clearing it up the field when he receives the ball from Henderson, and I think it's equally his fault as it is Fred's. But also, the second goal for me was the most careless excuse of a midfield duo not committing to stopping a player in possession of the ball and allowed to have a free shot of goal. It's the most pathetic excuse I've seen of players in United shirts for a long time. Matic can't be defended at all because he's not on a yellow card. He could take the Tielemans out. Fred, who, despite his many mistakes, should have also done something about it. And he hasn't been booked either, if I remember correctly. I'll fact check it just to make sure I'm not, not insane or anything. But I'm sure Fred Fred wasn't booked. So neither him nor Matic, who are not on yellow cards, could commit the tactical foul on a player who's running in on the edge of the penalty area. Okay, Lindelof, distracted by Vardy, moves half a yard to offer Tielemans the option to take the shot on goal side of the defender. But still, more needed to be done to shut down that Leicester attack. It simply wasn't good enough. The third goal was bad. Excuse me. The third goal was bad. It was a cross that went to the back post that Ian actually just was poaching at, waited for it to go over McTominay's head, but nodding it in. Ultimately, Ian actually ran the game today and deserved his man of the match status. He was simply brilliant, and he's now, I think, Africa's record goal scorer in the FA Cup now, level with Didier Drogba on 12. That was, 9 goals in 8 games for him in all competitions. He's become a very important player for them, and obviously, I didn't think he'd be that much of a threat. Well, now you know. You know how much of a threat he is. You can learn the lesson now for the next time we play him in the Premier League. But ultimately today will be a problem for the fans because Ollie didn't get it right. Okay, managers will get it wrong. If Mourinho was manager today of this team and we lost 3-1, all of you who would say Ollie out would say, oh, Mourinho didn't get it right today because he didn't have the personnel. Rashford wasn't available, or we just let Leicester come onto us. You would be, I promise you, you'd be as equally frustrated now as you are with Ollie as you would have been with Mourinho if he lost this game today. You have no excuse. In fact, how we treated the FA Cup final that day against Chelsea would have, the mood I was in after that is the exact mood I would have been in if Mourinho was manager. Now, with this team, and they could not beat Leicester. I firmly believe it. He wouldn't have been able to break down this Leicester team. I don't get why you guys have such a bad vibe towards Ollie. I don't think it's warranted at all. No, I don't think so. I'm going to stand by the manager. I do have criticisms for him that he doesn't always pick the right team. He doesn't always get what doesn't always get the right tactics set out for certain games. There are flaws to his management, but he's been a manager now for what? He's been a coach for the best part of 3 years, a manager for 8, and he's been, Norwegian title. Sure, people will say Mulder didn't do well, did won a Norwegian league, which is a stark league, like less of a league than the Premier League, but he got them into Europe, and they performed so well in Europe, got out of the group stages. I believe they knocked out Celtic. And they knocked out Celtic and Ajax, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Mulder made it to the next round of the Europa League. Something about that comes to mind. But Sevilla, who were in that tournament, knocked them out in the last 32. But he played incredibly well in that game. I watched it. And he almost beat them. Ultimately, Sevilla would come back to haunt him again in 2020. I should have played better in that game anyway. But he got Mulder a league title. They did so well to earn it. He moves on to Cardiff. Cardiff were already doomed. And you're telling me because he relegated Cardiff, he deserves, he should be criticised for a past failure for why United eliminated him in the FA Cup today. No. He doesn't deserve that. He leaves Cardiff, goes back to Mulder, wins the title again, gets the best out of Erling Haaland in his early career. Erling Haaland goes off to Salzburg. He's built a very good team in Mulder. Manchester United come to him. He is a former Man United player. He's been successful. He's won the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, everything with United. Right now, he is the manager of this club. He must be backed, in my opinion, fully. I don't want half-hearted backing. I don't want a manager who to come in who is an established name that cannot get the best out of his team. At the end of the day, I'll support the man who's in the dugout. But the man who's in the dugout now, I care more because he's done the job as a player. Knows what it takes to be a player at United. Knows what it takes to win at United. You can't disrespect him just because he has, under the most difficult circumstances, in particular with the ownership that currently runs this joint. Under no circumstances does he deserve to be criticised for not being given the tools that he needed to get United the Premier League titles, the Champions Leagues, the FA Cups that they deserve. Mourinho was that man. If he had been backed even half as much as Solskjaer in the windows that he'd been manager for, he would have won us a Premier League by now. But he didn't. And he used that frustration of not getting players in to lash out at the owners, and it's a big mistake to do that because they listen, even if they don't care as much about United, they do listen, and if that's how they are going to treat it, so be it. At the end of the day, I am like everyone else when it comes to the Glazers. I hate them. I don't want them to be in my club. I don't like the fact that they bought the club on debt. I don't like the fact that they're just like tossing shares away like it's no one's business. And at the end of the day, until they're gone, I won't make significant progress. And if Ollie's manager the day they're gone, great. But all of that is a different matter for another day. I might do a community talk on this with Robbie and discuss this further regarding the ownership at the club and what United need to do to go the one step further in terms of winning the Premier League and the Champions League. But I'm afraid that the FA Cup today is, again, alluding to United. Ultimately, I don't like this reaction the fans are giving to the manager. He got some things wrong today. But ultimately, that means no point. It means no reason to lash out. No, you don't have a reason to lash out against him. He'll make mistakes. Everyone does. But the players on the pitch that he picked ultimately were not the right ones. The performance today wasn't good enough. Maybe the exertion of Milan led to our defeat. So be it. But frankly, I don't think this Oli out agenda is for me a serious one. And I only would worry about the job if he's currently attending if United are not in the top half of the table. If we would say relegation candidates, I then don't want it. I don't even imagine it. But if we were relegation candidates, that's in a season, and Oli was manager, then I could understand. But we're not relegation fodder. We're second in the Premier League. We're still in Europe, which for me is the most important thing. We must assert our European. We must assert our European dominance one way or another, whether it is in this competition or in the Champions League. But he must get proper support and backing from the board, and the people who support him. Well, I feel one day they will be rewarded. The day he makes it happen for Manchester United, he will be rewarded. And I think the fans who back him, like myself and many others out there, will also have that day come. I don't know how soon it will be. If it's this season and the Europa League, fantastic. That will be the best thing that could happen to United this season. But for future seasons, if you can't demonstrate patience with a project, why should you be a part of it? That's it from me. Hit subscribe, hit like, follow us on Twitter if you want more. It's been a long one. I'm cutting this and making this my own video so that it's not part of the review. But frankly, I don't like this audio agenda. I don't like it. Stop it. Stop now. Because real fans support that team, no matter what. Support that team through thick and thin. And if you give them stick, expect the people who support that manager and the players on the pitch to give it back to you when things do go well. Thanks, everyone. Good night.